Incompetent manager fires the wrong guy. After I came back from Kosovo with the US Army, I got lucky once and landed a really great job. I was contracted to work as a liaison in several parts of the world. Our team would basically go somewhere, figure out what needed done, then make it happen. For example, my first assignment was back to Kosovo, and several towns needed various construction projects. Things like a bridge over a creek, a town community center, a waste treatment plant, etc. We coordinated with the Army, NATO, the EU, dozens of contractors, and would get the jobs done. We would secure funding, then hire contractors, and in some places we were involved in hiring workers as a means of stimulating the local economy. The first team I worked with was amazing. We were able to get so much accomplished, and genuinely enjoyed working together. We also had to figure out how to do everything. Our instructions were: 1. Go to insert place. 2. Find out what needs done. 3. Get it done. Somehow, we figured it out. Sometimes it was happy accidents. We made $1 million deal because we accidentally ran into the guy we needed to contact for funding in a random bar. We had been trying to find him for days. Found him in a bar. At lunch. Sometime we worked long days, as much as 20 hours. Sometimes on weekends. Sometimes we had very little to do. In our off time we explored the areas, went to bars and restaurants. It was honestly one of the best jobs ever. Anyway, eventually our contracts ran out and I was the only one who signed on for another year. My teammates had families and I was single at the time. When I met the new team, I knew almost instantly that this was going to suck. A team consisted of 4 people, a manager and 3 liaisons. The 2 other liaisons were among the 2 unhappiest people I've ever met, and I could never figure out why. Those guys griped and complained about everything. We all got great pay. Often it was tax-exempt. We were generally safe. We usually had fairly comfortable lodging where we went, but they were never happy. You could shower those guys in the most beautiful escorts in the world, and they would call you cheap because you got them used hookers. One of the places we went, we were easily living in the nicest hotel in the city, with probably the best suites they offered. But the shower doesn't get hot enough, and I have to filter water to drink it. We were on the only floor in the building where the suites had their own showers or running water. Even worse than those 2 guys was our manager. Whoever taught this guy about leadership should be flogged. He supposedly learned from being an officer in the US Army, and also from his business degree at UCLA. But somewhere along the lines he missed all the lessons about teamwork, management, and literally anything related to managing a team. When we met, I told him that I would be happy to help him start building a relationship with all out contacts and make his transition for the new team as seamless as possible. His response: I'm in charge of this team. We're going to change some things to start doing it right. Okay. He also decided to lay down the law, again reasserting that he was the boss. Also, the new rules were no consumption or possession of alcohol, no leaving the lodging or workplace in off-duty hours. We worked from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. local time, Monday through Friday. Basically, on our off-duty hours we stayed in our rooms or within whatever facility we were lodged in. You're not here to be on vacation. You're here to get your jobs done. We were back in southeastern Europe at the time, and I had a lady friend in town. No way in hell am I staying in my room and twiddling my thumbs. I told him right away that there was no chance that I was going to comply with his commandments. That company policy was clear that as long as there was no imminent safety risk, that we were free to do as we wished in our free time. To claim as safety required that he prove that his measures were necessary. I said, this is not the military. You do not own all my time. So yay, off to a real great start. It was less than 2 weeks before it came to a head. We had gotten nothing done. Nothing. The manager refused to use the contacts I had acquired over the last year, instead preferring to go through official channels. So I started just doing stuff myself. I made the calls, I got the funding, hired contractors, etc., and went and saw my lady friend after hours. He had this really funny thing he did where he would yell at me for going behind his back, but then put his name on my tickets and pass the work off as his own. I got sick of this. Along with the crybaby brothers not doing anything, a shouting match ensued. I pointed out his glaring incompetence. He was mad that I didn't follow orders like a soldier. In the end, he got me fired. I tried to fight it, but apparently he was buddies with someone high up in the company. I had the last laugh though. Just before I turned in my laptop and cell phone, I went through and deleted everything. Some of the files that I couldn't get in trouble for keeping I saved to my own computer, but the rest were gone. This was all my contacts, all my notes, how to get money, where to get contractors, private numbers for hundreds of people. In the hands of even a moderately competent person, this was a gold mine of information. All gone, and #X200B. I spent a while just kind of floating around before eventually going home. Apparently, as soon as I was gone, the old manager opened up my laptop and went to go through all my files and was enraged that it was all gone. The whole team was eventually disbanded when after another 2 months they were still floundering, unable to accomplish anything. Moral of the story: never fire the one person in your team that actually knows how to get stuff done. Sounds like the manager was a real shitbird. My good friend worked for an offshore casing company during the last oil downturn. Company thought they would let him go and keep the contacts and contracts. He never put one contact or conversation on his work phone or laptop. He had a job with a competitor within a month. They had to hire him back 6 months later at almost twice the salary. This reminds me of the story of don't fire the guy that owns the patents. I can't give too many details, but a friend had something similar happen at work. New manager came in, supposedly from a high-tier school, and immediately wanted to lay down the law and make changes. His first act? Look at everyone's salary and fire the highest earner. He's saved the company money. Pats for the good boy. Right? No. He fired the one guy who knew everything and everyone. The guy the client loved and specifically asked for when they called. The guy on the multi-million-dollar contract. The guy paid less than he was actually worth but stuck around cause he was happy enough doing what he was doing. It took the company a month and a half to fire the bright shining new manager, and 3 more to go back to star employee to try and offer him his old job back. At the same pay, of course. Since they were doing him a favor, of course. So this guy hadn't sat around. He had a family, so he went out looking for work as soon as they let him go. Less than a week later, after the client learned he had been let go, one of his contacts calls him up and offers him a job. He had been making $8K at the company. Client offers him $120K. He didn't ask. They offered. So 4.5 months later, he gets this call from the company. They want him to come back to work for them at $80K. Company learns that A, he doesn't need their handout, and B, the guy that knows everything about them now works for their client. They were boned. 2 years later, said company fired the only manager everyone liked and acted surprised when everyone was upset. My friend doesn't work there anymore. You should be rehired as the boss. Ah, yes, those people. They bitched their free gold was too heavy. Honestly, with all that competence, it is a crying shame that you didn't get your own unit. Did you ever find out where the manager landed? Honestly, the worst part to me is your team. Managers can be terrible, but if you have a good, trustworthy team, You can survive it. That's my situation now. My manager isn't as bad as yours, but if it wasn't for my coworkers I would have lost my mind. The best part, I would think, is that at this point they know that it was firing you that destroyed the team. They fucked up, and by now they should understand how. Did you take any measures to put the deleted files beyond the reach of data recovery specialists? I vowed never to work for first-time managers for these very reasons. They usually feel they have to change things on day one to show their authority, and yet also want everyone to respect their authority immediately. I saw this in corporate America so much. Any idea why team number 1 wasn't rehired? Unless they themselves left for greener pastures, then I can't fathom any reasonable reason. I feel underwhelmed by that ending. Any idea what happened to the incompetent asshole besides the team getting disbanded? Did he ever to get fired as well? I feel like there's something missing. Either way, he fucked up big time when he fired the one guy that actually got shit done. That's what he gets for being a dick and taking credit for all of your work. Karma's a bitch. Ah, so you got one of those army officers, face with rolling eyes, face with rolling eyes, face with rolling eyes, face with rolling eyes. Too far up their own ass to realize they are the ones causing all the problems. Woman face palming, light skin tone. His response: I'm in charge of this team. We're going to change some things to start doing it right. To be honest, it all went downhill from here. Knowing which locals to butter up to get a job done, as long as it's not illegal, is the job. There's people you can't rely on. There's people who they say you can rely on, but can't. And there's the people that did the work. Sometimes knowing what not to do is just as, or more, valuable than knowing what worked for someone else. It has amazed me about leadership from the military. Either they have been wonderful to work with or absolute crap. There is no middle ground there. They are greater horrible failures who can't seem to think why yelling louder at someone doesn't fix the problem. That's called drunk on your own bullshit, aka too stupid to know how stupid you are.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.